Claire Reid was only 16 when she invented real gardening. It all started when her father asked her to plant a vegetable garden during her school holidays. Fast forward 8 years later, and Claire has her own thriving business with 11 employees.
I was planting my own vegetable garden at home, and I just was overwhelmed at the difficulties I faced. I didn't know how to plant the seeds properly. I had to buy 500 seeds even though I only used 3 of them. I had to buy 2 kilograms of fertilizer and I only used a teaspoon. And then when push came to shove and I was actually sitting in the middle of the vegetable patch with a tape measure between my knees, drawing centimeter signs on my fingers, the seeds were going everywhere, the birds were eating them, I didn't know where to water. And I decided that, well, obviously if I was facing this kind of problem, and I've had a very good mathematical and English education, someone that hasn't had that education is going to be, it's impossible to plant seed. And I just felt, well, this has to be a universal problem, and there has to be a solution that would keep the seed in place at the correct depth, distance apart, with the nutrition it needed. And that's where real gardening came from.
This award-winning invention is rather simple. It provides the consumer a pre-fertilized seed strip that encases seeds at the correct depth and distance apart and offers planting instructions in 7 languages.
Real gardening is a pre-fertilized seed strip. So you can see these are beans. The beans are already the correct distance apart in the paper strip with the organic fertilizer, the right amount and the right kind for the seed. So you just have to pop this strip in the ground so that the colored area is above the soil. So you can see automatically your seeds at the right depth, and you just have to add water. So you can see carrots need to be shallower and they're closer together. So it just becomes, and it's in 7 languages. So everything from English, Zulu, Sotho, Pedi, Tswana, Xhosa. It's got pictures on the back, it's color coded, so you just pop it in the ground, add water. It saves 80% water during the germination phase because you know exactly where to water your plant. So you're not watering a square meter area. You can put water exactly where the seed is, and the paper absorbs the water, keeps the seed constantly moist, prevents leaching, and obviously your water, you get more for the exact same amount of water, so you save 80% water.
The journey from idea to commercialization is a long one, and Claire says they had their fair share of challenges along the way.
Money was the big one. I came up with the idea in 2002. It was entered into Eskom Expo for young scientists as a science project, and I won awards, I was sent overseas, I represented South Africa in Stockholm and won an international prize then, but I didn't have the money to patent the idea, and I didn't have the money to actually create, bring it from a prototype to something that's actually in production. So it basically went into the bottom drawer, and I started studying architecture, and I was lucky enough to be introduced to Anglo Zimile, Small Business Startup Fund, and they gave me a loan in 2008. So it was it was 6 years between when I came up with the idea to when I actually got the money to take it from that prototype onwards. And it was a further 2 years of research and development, and then obviously getting patents in place and all of that until we actually started production and selling the product at the beginning of this year.
Apart from running real gardening, Claire's busy studying architecture at the University of Pretoria. She has big dreams in combining her knowledge around architecture and real gardening together someday.
We're constantly creating new products and bits and pieces. I want to look at combining low-cost housing with a gardening solution. So basically, I think we need to now start looking at the way in which we live. So I'm looked at the way in which we eat. Now I want to start, obviously, and that's where my architectural background comes in.